What up, Watch Peeps? So today we are going to be taking a look at my Yema Superman. But first, if you notice this awesome t-shirt I'm wearing, this is the first sample of a few different models I had made on Teespring. Check the description for links to all of those. Yema was originally founded in 1948, and the Superman model was introduced in 1963. Little known fact, Seiko actually owned Yema from 1988 until 2004, when it was reacquired by a French owner. Now, the current owners took possession of the brand in 2009, and they have been reintroducing different models from their back catalog that you're seeing pop up more and more on social media. This is my first Yema watch. I don't have any real experience with the brand. I bought the watch with my own money. It was not donated or lent into the channel. Speaking of which, if you are enjoying the channel, please like and subscribe. It is the best way to help and much appreciated. All right, let's get to it. I'm Pete, and we are chilling with watches. Okay, so let's get this sucker open. And don't make fun of my knife. I never know where to cut on these boxes to get into the seams without slicing the box underneath. Ah, here we go. No, I'm not struggling because my knife sucks. Well, maybe. Alright, here we go. Oh yay, packing peanuts. My favorite. Looks like a simple box. Get some of these out of the way. Sleeve. A little leather warranty card. Just has serial number and website on there. Nice little hinged box. Y logo is different than what's on the watch. And there she is. Ooh, that's nice. I mean, an all black 40mm diver. You can't go wrong. Very useful. Very reminiscent of the Submariner in its simplicity, straightforwardness. I was always curious about this bezel lock mechanism. So basically you just loosen the crown and it pulls away from the teeth in the bezel and allows you to turn it. When you screw the crown back down, it presses it back into the teeth. It's pretty simple. Hand set pretty easily. Stops in the date position here. Flip the date. No problem. When I'm returning the crown to its first position, the second hand's not moving, if you notice. And there's no little plastic tab in between the crown that's preventing it from activating. Yeah, there it is, locked back down. I don't know if there's a piece of paper inside, maybe, over the battery that's keeping it from running down. Really a cool looking little watch. A simple black diver is very versatile. It lends itself well to a grab-and-go quartz watch. I'm going to see if I can figure out what is going on with the battery and why the second hand is not moving. Okay, so it turns out the battery was dead. I opened it up, put a new battery in, everything seems to be fine now. And better than fine, it actually hits all the marks. Alright, let's get this mess cleaned up and we'll get into a proper review. Alright, first things first, wrist check. I am wearing the Doxa Sub 300T, the Conquistador. Alright, so the Yema Superman Heritage Black, that is what this model is called. I bought this when it was on clearance for $214. But I think the current quartz model is available on their website for $490 US on a bracelet. This is not the bracelet that this came on. This actually came on a Perlon NATO that's actually quite nice. It's softer than other Perlon I've dealt with. Not too bad. So I picked this model because of the dial layout. I love the square markers. I originally thought they were actually just full square loom markers, but you'll see they are silver with loom fill in the middle. But it just has that almost snowflake appeal to it. The handset has a pretty basic sword hour hand and broad arrow, or just arrow minute hand, with the stoplight second hand. Now you'll notice these Yema, they have the bezel lock, right? And it does work. All you have to do to use it is loosen the crown a couple turns, and that frees up the mechanism. You'll see all it does is push this plate in, and it gets in between the teeth of the bezel and locks it down. And very simple, not too much of a pain. On a quartz model, you're not going to be using this crown all that often. So pretty much it just kind of prevents me from using it as a fidget spinner. I use it less often than I would just fiddling with it. So the crown grip is actually pretty good. Standard coin edge crown. It is a signed crown with the Yema Y laser engraved on there, which is actually pretty cool. Let's see the size of the crown. It's not a large crown, but it's not small. 6.3 millimeters. It suffices. Again, that's less important on a quartz model where you're not going to be using it as often. So this is a 40 millimeter case. Slipped off the case there. It's a 40 millimeter case, 20 millimeter lug width. Now I think the new quartz model is actually a 19 millimeter lug width. The lug to lug on this guy is get 49 millimeters. Might actually be a little more than that. Slipped. 49.3. So it's got some lugs. And while we're looking at that case profile, you'll see they do turn down, but slightly. Not too much case back protruding on there. So it does sit rather flush to the wrist, and these lugs will curve to the proportion of your wrist. The crystal on this and on the current quartz models, it is a mineral crystal. It is not sapphire. The water resistance, however, is 300 meters, 990 feet, as you can see on the dial there. The bezel grip is actually really nice. Pretty close coin grip, and you'll see that polished layer underneath is actually part of the bezel as well, with the grip just being on the top half or top third. I cannot remember if the pip is loomed, but we'll check that out later. The rest of the bezel is not loomed. Does have drilled lugs. Smudgy. I really like the case profile. It's very vintage with that very thin mid case. And this watch is actually, when you get it, is full polished everywhere. Now, I brushed out the top of the lugs. I'm not going to show you too close because it's not that fantastic of a job, but it's all right. Because I wanted to wear it on a bracelet, so I actually brushed those out myself. I masked off the sides and the bezel and everything but the spots I wanted to brush. I thought it came out okay. So yeah, like I said, this is not the bracelet it came on. This is a 20 millimeter tapering down to 16 millimeter oyster. Is actually made for a 5-digit sub, and it happens to fit this pretty good. I found that I have a fitted rubber for the 5-digit sub that also fits this watch really well. Actually, let's pop that on it real quick. First, here it is on my 7 1/4 inch wrist on the bracelet. You can see how that wears, and like I said, how it hugs the contours of the wrist really well. It's a nice fitting watch. I mean, 40 and 20, right? You can't beat that. And here it is on the rubber B, which I just think looks really cool. Again, this was designed for a 5-digit sub, but it goes in without really any work. Almost snaps right in, hitting the lug holes. And on this strap, it weighed 87 grams, so really super wearable. Again, it's quartz, so it's going to be lighter than an automatic model, but just super wearable. So let's take a look at it side by side some other watches. Here it is with the Doxa, which is a 42. See how that looks like it wears smaller because of the smaller dial. The dial on the Yema is large, and it has a thin bezel, so that is a factor. Here it is next to a Seiko Turtle. 44 millimeter. Slightly smaller dial on the Turtle, but you can see that case will wear larger than the Yema. I find most 40 millimeter dive watches are going to wear very comfortable on almost any wrist. Here it is against the new Laurier. And here you can see how the Laurier is small. Now the Laurier, I measured the bezel, the widest part, at 38.4 millimeters. So the Laurier is a small watch by comparison. And here it is next to the SKX. Since this is a reference point that pretty much anybody can relate to. 42 millimeter SKX. Again, they look like they'll wear pretty similarly because of the larger dial of the Yema. Alright, let's
Peep the Lume.
The Lume is pretty decent. I think it is just Super Lume. I don't think it's C3. But, I mean, look, it's hanging with a Seiko, right? So yeah, let's flip the camera around and close this thing out. So there it is, the Yema Superman Heritage Black. Yeah, the site says it's just Swiss Super Luminova, so it must be a very healthy application because it did hang with those Seikos. I don't know if it would last as long, but the initial burst looked great. Alright, so the t-shirts. This is one of 3 models. There is a Up Watch Peeps shirt, and there's another one just like this, except the Peep the Lume part is written in like a lumish green color. So yeah, if you're interested in those, check out the description. They'd be an awesome way to help the channel out. Let me know what you think about the Yema. They have a few other really cool models, and they just introduced a pilot field type watch. Let me know if you guys have any Yema watches or if you're looking to pick up any of those. Before I let you go, sneaker check. Yeah, I'm wearing my new Jordan 11 lows. These are the Concord bred hybrids. Alright, I'm out. If it's not too much trouble, like, subscribe, and come back next time. Peace.